Hello everybody, my name is Nika, and welcome to the side channel where we are doing a little bonus video, kind of, sort of. There's no main video to go with it, so I guess just check out stuff on the main channel if you want to, but this is going to be important for later on, so I just kind of want to get my immediate thoughts. So, for those of you not in the know, as of June 5th, 2025, LEGO has revealed their first wave of One Piece sets. There have been rumors about potentially more, though I'm not going to put much stock in them, so for now we'll just assume that these are the only ones they're doing. This is a wave of sets based on the first wave of the live action One Piece series made for Netflix. I've seen a lot of people talking about this as someone who enjoys One Piece mainly for the manga. I do think this show's good. I don't quite like it as much as the manga. I mean, that's, I think, kind of to be expected. But it's a good show and a good entry point. So if you're not a One Piece fan, I do recommend watching the live action if you want to get something that's a lot easier to jump into, and then loop back around to the manga if you do enjoy it. But yeah, now we can join Monkey D. Luffy on his quest to become. Oh, we can join Monkey D. Luffy on his quest to become King of the Pirates and find the legendary One Piece. Um, these are great gifts for pirate loving boys or girls. Sorry to any of you non binary fans, these sets are not for you. But yeah, there's a lot of sets here. Usually, when Lego does something like this, they'll usually just pick up like a weird random license. They'll usually just like make like a set and then move on, but especially in the modern day. But I really do like that there is a full lineup. So we'll get a brief look at all 7 sets that are out here before we start looking into the main pages for each one of these here at the shop at home. You can pre-order them if you want to, which is neat. Just so that you can be like, if you want a certain set, you can be like, yes, I've got it. It'll ship in August. So first off, we have a pair of brickheads. These weren't known about until very, very recently, because the set names leaked like back in like January, but not the brickheads. We didn't know the brickheads existed. These are just showing up now, though that's neat enough. There are 2 brickheads, one of Monkey D. Luffy, who we will look at now, and then Buggy the Clown, who we will look at in a second. They're both $10, which seems to be the standard price for a brickhead, and they're essentially kind of like pop figures. Uh, Stylized, chibi little characters made out of Lego parts that are fairly inexpensive and have this and are like cute little desk toys. I like them as options, but brickheads have never necessarily been my thing. They're neat enough. I do feel like it does do a decent job capturing Luffy. I do like how the straw hat looks. I like that they gave him his cheek scar. That's a very important part of his character design. I like the way that they did his shorts as well. The slight faded out look of like the tattered upper layer, and then you get a little bit of skin, and then you get his flip flops. It's done very well in this sort of style. This is how the box looks. It has that sort of general Netflix One Piece packaging. You could have seen this on a bunch of other product, mainly though the SH Figuarts releases for Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, or Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. Sorry, from the live action One Piece series. This is Brickhead number 272. If you're interested in collecting all of them, though I don't know why you would. There's a lot of them. There is a full product spin around, which we will take a quick look at. There's no audio for it, but that's neat enough. How many pieces does this have again? This has 136 pieces. It's for 10 plus mainly because of small parts, but this could be a fun little like stocking stuffer for any One Piece fans you've got out there. I especially like this one over the next one because it allows me to just kind of pluck off a straw hat, and then yeah, call it a day. This They've got like little lifestyle images. You can take it off of the little display base because it is Lego. You can take it off that. It's just held on by 2 studs. But yeah, it's a brickhead. A brickhead's a brickhead's a brickhead. You've seen one, you've seen them all. I do like how they captured the skin tone as well. I didn't get to mention that. This is the live action, so it's got the more diverse skin tones of the different actors from that. So I do like how they captured it here. Next up is Buggy the Clown. I do think this one's also pretty well captured. I do like that they chose Buggy. Buggy's a fun character. He's an important character for One Piece overall. Um, and yeah, he's got his hat. He's got the little hair tufts that are poking out of the hat. As you'd expect, I do like that they gave him his big nose that he's really insecure about. The printing looks nice. The printing looks fairly high quality, though this is a computerized render or like a prototype or whatever. There's a chance that it'll look a little bit more faded in person because that's how Lego tends to be. But from the look of it, the brickheads are all prints, though. The main sets do look like they might be stickers, though I'll make my piece on that when we get to those. But yeah, it's a brickhead. I'm not going to spend too much time on these because they're fucking brickheads. Who cares? But yeah, they're neat. They're $10 each. This one has slightly more pieces. It's 176 pieces. It's item 40800. That's pretty fun. And yeah, brickheads, cool. But now getting on to the actual wave of sets, we have the Windmill Village Hut. It's $30. It has a total of 299 pieces and is set number 75636. I don't have the other currencies right now. I'm sorry. I'm not a LAN member. But I believe it's around sort of this range. I think the American prices are a little bit more expensive, potentially because of tariffs. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about politics right now. Anyways, this is the most unexpected set. I have plans to make more full videos on all of these on the main channel, so I'll probably talk about that more through those. But this is very unexpected. I didn't expect them to make a flashback set, though it's very welcome because this gets us a very important character in Shanks and allows us to depict a very important moment, which is Shanks passing off the hat to Luffy. Something that's neat that's not really super shown off in some of these pictures, that it looks like some of the minifigures just come out the box with option parts. So here you can see that there is a unique version of the straw hat part with Shanks's red hair. Well, first off, let's go over the overall set. This is a depiction of Party's Bar from the live action, which is kind of just like a sort of hut sort of thing. So it looks nice. It's got a little dock here, which I do like. I do like that it's a small little add-on. Everything on the set is stickers outside of the minifigure parts, which some people are going to complain about. Just be careful with it, and it allows for any new recolors, like I'm not sure if the surfboard's a recolor, but it could be, to be plain, and it allows for the print quality to honestly be nicer, because Lego prints have been kind of going downward in quality recently, so having it be a sticker allows it to just, like, stick on and look nice. Sorry. Sorry, this isn't going to be edited, but I got something in my throat. Sorry. Yeah, it's a nice little hut. It looks fairly sizable, all things considered, which is good since it's $30. It might be a little expensive, but it does look nice. I do like that it comes with the boat so that you can recreate the Shanks saving Luffy out at sea moment. I do like that is included. That's a nice little detail. And yeah, here is the box art. It's got some really nice box art that allows you to see Windmill Village. There's a drawn version of all the Straw Hats here on the side. Lego One Piece, and it shows Luffy here, and it shows the three main minifigures on like a little map or whatever. And it looks nice. It's basically this rendering. Let's take a look at the spin around. As you can see, it looks fairly complete from most sides. The back's a little bit plain, and you can see there's a singular wanted poster. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Luffy also comes with a Gum Gum fruit. People have been saying that's a new mold, but I don't think that is. I think that's just two of like the Angry Birds eggshell molds, kind of like sandwiched together or something like that. And it works for the Gum Gum fruit. It's fine. It's a fine representation of it in Lego. This is something I really like, though. This set comes with a unique Luffy expression for young Luffy that has him crying so that you can recreate the hat pass-off moment, which is... So many of these sets come with little details that allows you to recreate these specific moments. And I am so glad that they're here. And this is the first of many. And as you can see, this also shows off the fact the minifigure has option parts. For Shanks, you can get two versions of the hat. Either the hair hat combo that comes on the figure, or you can swap it out with Shanks just with the red hair and with the hairless version of the straw hat. so you can give it to Luffy. I believe the hairless version has a hand clip so that the minifigures can hold it, which is neat. Um, the hat seems a little yellow, in my opinion, from what I'm used to in seeing other straw hats in other toys. I think that's just because the shade of yellow, yellowish orange, is the only one that Lego really has. I think it's a Keat orange. Potentially, I'd have to look more at like the part itself once I get it in hand. But yeah, I do like also that. Fuck, I'm bad with names sometimes. It has it here, I think, somewhere. That they have the bartender. She's also a fun character who like shows up in the background a lot, and in like whenever they do like a cover story of like there's more bounties or whatever, she always shows up at some point. So I'm glad that she's here. Um, but yeah, this is just a cute little set, and I'm sure normal Pirates fans. I've seen other like people who aren't as familiar with One Piece talking about this, and they're like, "Yeah, well, Pirates fans will probably like this because it just looks like a fun little pirate setup." And yeah, I have to agree. And also, something really fun is that rather than just having two different torsos, they just have you move the cloak, move Shanks's cape over his shoulder so that it looks like he only has one arm. That's very fun. That's something I would do as a kid to recreate that for like play scenarios. This is also very funny. They have lifestyle images, and most of them are fairly consistent. For some reason, for Party's Bar, it's just fucking a kid on a blue background. Sure. Um, but yeah, this shows you everything that it comes with. A nice, fun, small set. I guess my main concern is, I guess that just thanks to Lego pricing, things aren't going to be super cheap. I would love a cheaper option to get normal, like current timeline straw hats, but the only way to get any of them is starts at $50. And that is something we will get to later. I'm never big on minifigure exclusivity. I'm sure this might be something that's fixed if there is a second wave, because I don't think there's any real weird flashbacks they could do, especially if they do the second season. Um, I mean, there's a lot of flashbacks, so I'm not sure there's any with as pivotal moments in minifigures as doing a Romance Dawn set. Also, this introduces something worth noting. These sets have random wanted posters. This is something carried over from a different theme, which I will not name for reasons. Um, but there are different 2x3 printed tiles that are wanted posters, which I think is really neat. I don't like as much that they're randomized, but I guess it's just a way to get you to buy them all. I hope I get them all. There are 8 different prints, I believe, and I believe it's Luffy, Gold Roger, Shanks, Buggy, Alvida, Don Krieg, Arlong, and Mihawk. I believe it's those 8. You could correct me. I'm doing this off the cuff, and I'm not going to be editing this video. But those are the ones I believe that are there. And it's neat enough. It's a nice incentive, I guess, though I kind of wish they were more intentional. I do like that it's wanted posters, though. But yeah, that's the Windmill Village Hut, the Party's Bar, as it was called in leaks. It is Party's Bar, but this is how they get around calling it a bar for a Lego set. It's neat, and I do like this moment is being captured in Lego. It's my most unexpected of the sets, but I do like it. And it's also just a nice small little building for people to buy. Next up is probably my least favorite set. If I had to pick, I don't hate any of these. I mean, I guess if you wanted me to be specific, my least favorites are probably the Brickheads because they're the ones I have the least interest in. But this one's probably my least favorite. This is the Buggy the Clown circus tent from the Orange Town arc in the live action. This is the most live action specific of any of the sets because they changed Orange Town a lot. But yeah, it's neat enough. I do like that it is very play focused, and I do like that. You have little things for each of the Straw Hats to do. Luffy's holding, like, I believe this is meant to represent the little MacGuffin. This is meant to be the Grand Line Map. But I do like that there's a lot of little play features. We can kind of see them as we'll go along, but they have each of the things that the Straw Hats have to get out of. They have the dunk tank for the big water escape tank for Luffy. They have this little cage for Nami, and then they have the spinning knife thing for Zoro, who we'll talk about more as well. And I do like that it's very play focused, and there's somewhat of a modularity to it where these seem to be attached, or at least the chairs are attached, and you can detach them depending on what you want to do. And yeah, I do like how they represented Buggy's big head and the flag. It is stickers, which will annoy some people who aren't super good at putting stickers on, and I'm not great at it either. But again, this will be this will have a better quality print than an actual print, so it'll look nicer if you are careful. Um, I think at least, and plus it allows for these parts to just be parts if you want to buy these as parts packs. So whatever, I do generally like it. It does look a little bit light for the $55 price points, but I do like that it is very play focused. So let's go through. This is the box. I do like how they printed out the box art. Um, they put in the rest of the buggy carnival in the background. So that's neat, and it shows off the three swords on the floor, which is funny. And yeah, you get 4 minifigures with this. You get the Romance Dawn trio of Zoro, Nami, and Luffy. Luffy, I don't think, has a straw hat for the head, unfortunately, in this set, but he can put it on his back, which is neat. And you also get Buggy the Clown. This is a good setup for a basic minifigure pack. If you are only interested in the minifigures, this is a fairly good pickup, but the set kind of lets it down from what I can tell, unfortunately. Of course, this is based on preliminary images. But yeah, and there's like a little crank on the back. That's neat. And the Buggy the Clown tent does have a back, which I do enjoy, which we get a look at here. We also have some crates that we can put his parts into, so that spoilers, you can make the the cover story Buggy, which I fucking love that they included this. All these sets are full of tiny little details that they didn't have to include, but they did anyways, which I think is helping me, I guess, justify this. Ugh. Oh yeah, I didn't go over the stats. This is set number 75637. It has 573 parts and is marketed for 8 plus. This video is for adults, by the way. Yeah, I do like this outside. I do like that it says the Buggy Pirates. That's great. And it's nicely detailed for an exterior that's going to be kind of the back a lot of the time, since you're going to be wanting to play with these bits on the interior. So I do like that. These are some fairly well-rounded facades. So that's neat. But yeah, it looks a little thin for the price point. The price per part ratio is there, if that's what you care about, and they do have some fun little gimmicks for these little bits. I do like how this is able to spin, and this can be bursted out of by Luffy. And we'll get to the minifigures here in a second. So let's first go over the lifestyle images. There's a kid. This is a lot more normal for the lifestyles. They're in a very nice little background. It shows people playing with them. Here's the back of the box that shows all the gimmicks. This one, you get 2 wanted posters. But what I think we really should be talking about right now is the minifigures. Because this gives us some first looks of 2 minifigures that are going to be fairly common, and one who's a little bit less common. So each Straw Hat, from what I can tell, gets 2 looks. Luffy gets his child look, and then he also gets the basic Luffy getup of the red shirt, blue shorts, and sandals. Luffy seems to be a minifigure that they really went all out on. They gave him dual molded legs, they gave him torso and leg printing. He doesn't really have any arm printing, but he doesn't really need to. And he also has a new hairpiece, though every main character has a new hairpiece. And I know what you're thinking about with Zoro. There is a new hairpiece for Zoro, but we will get to it when we get to it. But anyways, Luffy looks great. He looks fucking perfect. He looks like Iñaki Godoy. He's got all the little details I want and need, and I do like that we have normal armed Luffy options. Whenever they do stretchy armed characters, LEGO loves to just make them stretchy armed and that's it. But we have both for Luffy, which I'm the most happy about as you go through these sets. Zoro has a fairly plain face, though I think it does work, especially more so for an anime/manga Zoro. This feels a lot less like Muckinu's more stern look. Though you do get a nice angry expression, as you can see, which also doubles well as a 3-sword style face, which we'll get to when which I'll talk about actually now, because we're talking Zoro. Every Zoro set, from what I can tell, comes with 3 swords, because he doesn't come in Arlong Park, where he loses 2 of his after he lost 2 of his swords in fighting Mihawk. Yeah, he comes with 2 normal, generic katana molds that are in black because that's what those generic swords kind of look like. But then he comes with a very specialized mold for the Wado Ichimonji. I'll see if I can zoom into it properly. For because it has two main details. For one, it has a rounded hilt, as the Wado Ichimonji does. It is white, as the Wado Ichimonji's hilt is. I'd love to paint this, by the way. All these to have a nice silver blade. But thirdly, it is primarily intended to be held in the mouth, which makes sense. He only really holds the Wado in his mouth outside of that one set. I would have loved if they could have splurged a little bit and made a Watto mold in just normal as well as this. If you had to choose one or the other, I prefer this more playable option. As you can see, it's kind of a half bracket, so I'm pretty sure, I don't know this for sure, but I think you can just slide it on him without removing the head, which I think is great for playability. Um, and it looks nice. It looks good. It looks as good as it's gonna look. Obviously, holding the sword in the mouth is always gonna look a little awkward, especially in toy form. But this looks as nice as it's gonna look in Lego form, and I think they did a great job figuring out how to get his sword in his fucking mouth. It was one of my biggest questions going into this line, and I think they did a great job. But yeah, Nami. There's some light issues with Nami, mainly the leg print. She does have a leg print. This is her Romance Dawn look, which is a great choice for her. It's a wonderful costume, and I think it looks great. I think it generally looks great. I do like the hair piece is a little different from how you would expect her to look if you were going for an anime manga one, but this does look very the same with Luffy's hairpiece. It's very Iñaki Godoy Luffy, and this is very Emily Rudd Nami. But the hair pieces are captured very well, and I do like them as new hair pieces. Um, and yeah, they look fucking wonderful. And I do like that she has dual molded arms so that she can have her sleeves down, because her having her sleeves down is a very important character trait throughout the series. And then we'll get to another minifigure of Nami that we'll get to when we get to the next set. The biggest problem is that she doesn't have dual molded legs. She could have. Her general look is that she wears boots, sort of, or like shoes. And then she has her legs exposed, and then she has a skirt. Um, they probably should have given her dual molded legs as well. But I'll live with a leg print. It'll be annoying. I'll be annoyed, but this is fine. But the big standout for the minifigures here, since all these three are not exclusive, is Buggy the Clown. They did so well. That's Buggy. That is Buggy. They gave him a unique hairpiece for the hat poking out of the hair. He also has a bandana. If you look as an option part, if you look at the I gotta go to the earlier image. Sorry, the frontal image. He also has just a normal bandana. This isn't a new bandana. We'll get to a new bandana later. But he also comes with a bandana, which is another common Buggy look. So I'm glad that he has that. But yeah, the torso also looks fucking great. He has his jacket printed on very well. And then it's just so covered in detail, but it doesn't feel too detailed to where it doesn't really feel like a Lego minifigure. It just looks just right, and they did such a good job on Buggy here. I love it so much. They did a great job. He's one of the best minifigures of the line. I didn't talk about really the minifigures here, actually, so I'll go back real quick to look at the three minifigures. I do love that they come with option parts. Luffy here is young Luffy. I believe the head prints are kind of generally the same-ish, because Lego stylization. Anchor shirt. I do like that he has his anchor shirt. That's really great. That's really great. Shanks is a fairly plain-looking guy. People are going to complain that a lot of these minifigures don't have leg printing. But it's honestly fine for Shanks. Like, it would have been neat to have him have dual-molded legs, though that wouldn't have been a perfect representation, or maybe a little bit of printing for the toes, but he does just kind of have pants. So, and a lot of these characters just kind of have pants, especially Zoro. Zoro just kind of has pants. And then, shoot, I forget her name. I'm so sorry. I think it's printed on here, so let me, Makino, yes. The barkeep. She's the most plain. This might even be just like a reused face print, and it's reused hair. The torso print does look nice, and it does look like her shirt, and she is recognizably her. And there's no printing on like the skirt piece, but she's fairly plain, but I don't think you need to splurge on her minifigure in comparison to the others. So if cheaping out on this side character, we're cheaping out on a side character. It's fine. But yeah, Buggy's one of the best minifigures of the line. And overall, I'm not super like disappointed by Buggy's tent. I just think it's the worst of the sets. But I do like the variety that like a One Piece is able to have, having so many different ideas. So I don't hate it, and I do think this is a very playable model. Anyways, next up is a playable model done a little bit better. There are some qualms with it, but we have Arlong Park. It's specifically called Battle at Arlong Park. It is $80 with 926 pieces, and it's set number 75638. And we have gone up in the age rating to 9 plus. Ooh. It comes with a total of 5 minifigures, which are really neat looking. Took a drink there to help clear out my throat. And I'm really happy with this. For one, the Arlong Park looks like ripped straight out of the manga and anime. The Lego set has generally brightened the colors in comparison to the general slightly drab color grading of the live action. And it makes these sets look just ripped straight out of the original source material. And it looks fucking great. Sure, Arlong Park's a little small, probably, because it's meant to be just the tower mainly is meant to be a big fucking tower. Yeah, I'm glad they chose this because this is the Arlong Park that like I think of. I've seen people be like, "Hey, they could have made it more of a water park," but I'm glad that they focused most of the parts into the tower. And the tower looks great. It's got all the levels that you would expect from Arlong Park. The interior is something we'll get to, but I'm really glad that they made this set. It also does have the little side builds. It has 4 main side builds. It has this little sitting area. It has Arlong's throne. It has like a little like knock the things down with like a cannon blast or like a ball throw thing. It's called the shooting gallery. It's a shooting gallery. We have the shark attack, which is probably the most prominent one that I think people will remember from Arlong Park. And then we have this other side build for the stuff Usopp is doing on the side, which is fair. His battle is one of the more prominent ones in Arlong Park in the live action, so that makes sense. Here it is with the box. This box does look very nice. I really like how this box looks. I like how it's at sunset, and it has all these little extra trees while still keeping the focus on Arlong Park. It looks great. All I could have, I guess, wished for this set was a little, like, pool in the front, because that's kind of important for the manga, but it's fine. We'll also do a spin around so you can see the back, which is probably my biggest complaint. The interior looks pretty anemic. Let me see if I can talk about that before I talk about the play feature. Yeah, the back is pretty empty. It really only has the one level, which it really only has the one level in the live action, so I guess that's fair. But the upper layers are missing a lot of extra scaffolding and detailing. The map room looks fine. Like especially if you put a minifigure in it, the map room looks great. There isn't a ton of stuff. I kind of wish there was a little bit more maps in here, but it does look nice. It's a nice map room, especially for an $80 playset. And you can have Arlong and Luffy fighting in here. And it's nice. But the main reason it exists, as you can see, here's that frontal render again, that was in the box art, is for this. This is why I love this set, especially more than Buggy the Clown. It has the play feature where you can destroy Arlong Park, and it looks so perfect. And this is the only set that comes with, if you'll notice, Luffy with his stretchy arms. I'm glad that it is an option, but not the only option that comes in the line. And if any set's going to have it, it's the one where it's integrated into the vibe of the play feature, because, like, it fits thematically for the park, because, like, it's meant to be this giant structure that, like, they have essentially placed in place, and it doesn't fit in with the architecture of the rest of the island at all. And it is seemingly this giant towering thing that is indestructible, that shows the strength of who Arlong is. And then when Luffy defeats him, the tower goes down as well. So the fact that you can destroy the tower in the Lego set is so thematically significant. No, I'm talking about these like they're art pieces, but fuck it. It is just so good. it is so well done, and I'm really happy that this is the play feature. And I'm willing to sacrifice the little bits of interior for it to be able to be taken down. I'm sure someone can customize little other bits of interior for Erlang Park anyways, so yeah, it looks like a nice controlled destruction. We'll get to the minifigures in a second. We also get this nice side build to represent the battle between our two sharpshooters. Fucking Kui, I believe it is. Is it? It's not Kui. That's a Dragon Ball character. This is Chu. Sorry, they're the Arlong pirates. You get the Chu versus Usopp fight, which is nice. It would have been neat to have a couple more minifigures to represent the Sanji versus the other guy fight, but this one has a more interesting side build, and it doesn't look like it takes up too many parts. And it's just a nice little side build. This would have been a neat polybag, though. I think that would have been nice. But it's fine as a side build. And of course, there are the other side builds, which don't get as much focus in these promotional images, unfortunately. But yeah, you can see them. Arlong can sit in his throne. You can play with the shooting gallery. And they're all nice and functional, and I really like them. It's very good. Finishing off, let's look at the minifigures. Sorry. This set comes with 5 minifigures, as previously mentioned. We'll start with Luffy, because he's basically the same mold that we saw before. Um, but he has the stretchy arms. They're the same mold as the ones that have been used since, like, Kamala Khan. They don't have the gold bangles, but you can see the sculpt still in there. It's fine. I've never been super hot on these rubbery arms because they aren't super posable, but it's fine, especially for a one-off set. And you kind of need to show Luffy with his stretchy powers, and this is probably the best way for them to do it. We've seen Lego try it with other methods that haven't worked as well recently with that Fantastic Four set. It's fine. Then we have Chew, probably my least favorite minifigure of the whole line. It's not a bad minifigure by any means. He has some plain legs, and he does have some arm printing, so you can get the Arlong tattoo, and a decent shirt and a decent face print that does look like Chew. I just think the hair is a little thick. Let me check. Because, like, yeah, he doesn't have that much hair. I think they could have chosen a better hair piece. Like, I get why they did it, especially given the live action. I think he does have a longer hair in the live. He doesn't even really have that long of hair in the live action. I don't know what's going on with that hairpiece choice. It seems like a bit much. I'm sure you can find a different piece to replace it with, though. That shouldn't be too hard to find, especially since it's in blonde, a fairly common hair color for long-haired Lego characters. Next up is a character who's kind of grown on me after I've seen him like leaked, and then now is Arlong. He has a new hair piece, as you can see, that has his hat and the hair combo, and he has a perfectly colored shirt that looks just like Arlong does. He's got his like jacket over like the parody bits on the inside, and he's also just kind of wearing pants, but I'm pretty sure that's how he looks in the live action anyways. Again, a lot of One Piece characters are just kind of wearing pants, so I'm fine with them not really having leg printing. So yeah. Um the biggest controversy is his face. I believe he has a happy face and like an angry face, but it's mainly the nose. And like outside of doing a specialized mold, I don't know how else they would have done it, honestly, because people could say like, oh, just don't print his nose, but his nose is one of his most defining features. He is a sawfish, uh, so he needs that saw nose. So like, I don't know how else they could have done it, and it's kind of growing on me. I'm kind of liking it more and more as I'm looking at it. They honestly did a fairly good job representing that, and he's got his, and it's a good expression as well. That certainly helps, and like the nose is just growing on me more and more as I've been looking at it. It's not perfect, certainly. And he also, you can't really see it here, but he does also have the Arlong tattoo on this arm, which is very nice. A lot of these sets have arm printing, which is very surprising. But yeah, anyways. Next up is our first look at Usopp. I really like this face print. It does give Usopp very well. Um, but this is an alternate look for Usopp, a slightly less common one. It is exclusive to this set. This set actually has like all exclusive minifigures. This is the only set with stretchy armed Luffy. This is the only set with the Arlong Pirates. This is the only set with this version of Usopp, and this is the only set with this version of Nami, who we'll get to. But yeah, I do like that he has a bandana hair combo. It works very well. I hope they make a new one if they start doing season 2 sets to have the goggles, or at least take this one and print on the goggles. I hope they do that. Um, the face does work very well for Usopp. It does work well for Usopp, and I do like this shirt as something that, while I don't necessarily associate with Usopp, I believe this is how he looked in that episode, and it's just a good casual look. But the MVP, by fucking far, is Arlong Park Nami. I'm so glad that they gave her this unique look. This arc is Nami's arc. This is her character development arc. So having this look is very impactful and very important. It has the same hairpiece, but it has the green kind of like top that she wears, and then she has the bandage over her arm after she gets done stabbing the tattoo. And it's like, that's a little detail that did not need to be included at all. But they did it, and like it's so much of an extra expense probably because it's an arm print that's only on one side. So like they arm printing is something that they don't tend to do, but they've been really going all out with dual printed arms and arm printing in this wave for the minifigures. And then the final detail that really sinks it in, she can wear the straw hat on the back of her head, and you can probably put that on her head even though it'll not look the greatest. I kind of wish they included an orange dual mold for her since they've done it in red for Shanks. But if you look here, they also have her crying, so you can do the help me Luffy. And it's these little details, man, that really makes this line feel super premium. And like the designers are like, we love One Piece as much as you. We know what we're doing. We want to make these sets as good as they possibly can. And it's like, it makes me so happy. I love it so much. The Nami minifigure is probably this Nami is probably one of my favorite minifigures in the whole line. Anyways, next up is probably what I will call the best set of the wave. Um, that being for $140, uh, set number 75639 with a total of 1,376 pieces. It's the Going Merry. Of course, you have to do the Going Merry. If you're doing One Piece, this is probably the one set, if you're doing early One Piece specifically, that you would have to do. If you're doing, just general One Piece and you're doing like the manga or the anime, you'd choose between this or the Thousand Sunny, depending on what era you want to do. But given this is based on the live action, you gotta do the Merry, and it looks fucking perfect. I've seen some people complain about it being small, but I think this is good because A, it makes it a little bit more accessible. If it was too big, this would be like $300, and I don't think anyone would want to deal with that. $140 is still a lot of money, but it's a lot more reasonable for someone to do. Someone can buy that after like a month's worth of paychecks with like extra money in the back. And like it's a lot more reasonable of a size, and people I also don't think acknowledge that for the world of One Piece, the Mary's a small ship. It's only meant to house it's a small ship for a small crew. And they eventually like outgrow it and get the much larger Thousand Sunny. Um but yeah, I think this is a good size and it represents the Mary just well enough, in my opinion. It's got all the nice detailing you would want. It's got the little lines that go throughout the body of the ship and like a bunch of like string to hold things up. It does look like a realistic pirate ship, but also with that little bit of goofy sheen. It has a fairly darn good looking Mary head. It's obviously going for the live action, so it's all in white and it's meant to be a little bit more realistic, but since it's Lego-ified, it's easy enough. And if you want to make this a lot more anime Mary, I think it's easy enough to just pop these off, put on the eyes from the brickheads, and boom, you've got Going Merry Anime Edition. But yeah, I also love that we get brand new sails for it. We have the triangular one here in the back. I'm a bit worried because it looks like these are vinyl, unfortunately, rather than in cloth, but that's fine. I'll live. I think that's like, I guess, the main complaint. But you also get these flowing vinyl flags up here with the Straw Hat Jolly Roger, which is great just to have, and then you have the massive flag here, the massive sail, sorry, that just has the Straw Hat just printed on it, and it looks perfect. It would go great with whatever version of the Straw Hats that you want, and it especially helps that this set includes the most basic version of the Straw Hats, which we'll get to. But yeah, here is the box showing it going off to sea. Once again, very pretty, very well done. I love this box art. I'm pointing that out for later, and it looks great. Also, side note, I love that you can sit Luffy on the Mary's head. A little detail, again, they didn't have to, but they were paying attention to the source material and like, hey, Luffy does that a lot. We should do that. And it's great. I love it so much. Here's the wraparound image, or not, so you can see everything that comes with it. It comes with three of the mystery wanted posters. How many does Arling Park? I think Arling Park comes with two. Let me check. It comes with three. Oh, that's neat. And it comes with a couple of accessories for your different characters. Um, we'll get to the bandana later. Um, but yeah, it looks very nice. So here's the back of the ship. It shows the rudder, and it shows that they included the tangerine trees. Because again, this is end of series Going Merry. This is them about to hit the Grand Line, about to hit Town. And that's the perfect choice because that gets you the final little details that really make the Merry the Merry. The big fucking the Jolly Roger and Nami's tangerine trees. I am so glad that these were included as like just a tiny little detail that again didn't need to be there, but are there and is just a nice little attention to detail. And Zoro is, I guess, trying to murder Sanji here in this image. Why does he have his swords out? Why is he attacking Sanji? Um, it also has a cannon function, which is done with a basic stud shooter, which is fine. I would have loved one of those classics, pirate cannons, but I'll live. And I do like that they did manage to work the cannon into the front of the ship. It's great that they did that. Ooh, and like a little like this has to be like beer, right? Like this is a teacup. That's beer, right? Or like rum. That's like rum, right? Anyways, the minifigures we'll get to. The bit on the back does come off to show a little bit of storage space for some stuff that you can get for the different Straw Hats. I'll probably think more about what each of these are later. There's also a little interior of like the seat and the cooking area for Sanji, which is great. It's very small. It's a little cramped because of the small size, and there's a little slice of tangerine. That's nice. Um, and it's a little cramped, but it does represent how it looks in the live action well enough for the size. Here's another lifestyle image with this child um, playing with his One Piece toys. That child does know what One Piece is, I'm sure. And as you can see, there are other interior areas. There's this little front one, which is like the sleeping quarters, I think. In the back here, there is. That's where the chef and like the rest area is. And in here in the center, there's like a storage space, and this comes with a bunch of the fucking wanted posters. Um, but yeah, and you can place them around. Seems a little cramped, but not the worst. And I do like that it is a pirate ship with a bit of interior space. I think my main other ship that I own is the Lego Ninjago movie, Destiny's Bounty, which has some great interior space. This one is smaller and doesn't quite have as much, but it'll work. It works for the size, I think. Like the biggest complaint, I guess, is that its small size means that it is a bit cramped, but I think it does just enough. Yeah, as you can see, there's this little middle storage space for like food because Luffy loves food, and this one comes with 4 wanted posters. Um, so yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to get all 8 prints because you get what this one comes with 1. I believe this one comes with 2, so 6, 10, and this one comes, I believe, with 5. I think this one comes with 5. I don't know where it says it. We'll get there. But yeah, moving on to the minifigures, this set is also good because you get all 5 Straw Hats just out the gate. So if you're to get any one set, if you're only going to get one, get the Merry, obviously. I think it's obvious. It's their ship. It comes with all 5 Straw Hats, and it is just the most representational of One Piece, especially live action One Piece Season 1, that you can probably get. But yeah, if you're only going to get one set, get the Merry. But yeah, we've basically seen this Luffy. This gives us our first look at the dual molded straw hat, which is nice. They made so many fucking straw hats, and it's crazy, but I'm not opposed to it. It looks very nice. I believe this is the same mold as Shanks's, which is just changed to have red hair rather than this black hair. That's fine. Zoro, new torso print. People complain about the legs. That's what his legs look like. He just wears black pants and then black boots. That's what his legs look like. Um, and they did the torso great. He does have dual molded arms, which is awesome. Because he does have those short sleeves. He doesn't have the bandana on the sleeve, but that's because it's meant to be kind of dually done. But I bring this up because he does have a new hairpiece, which doesn't really get shown off a lot because he has a brand new bandana for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Lego has a bandana piece. I don't know why they gave him a new one, but sure. And like the hairpiece they chose from, that Superman hair, does work for Zoro. I think it's a little thick, but all the hair pieces are a little bit thick. And again, here he is with all three swords. I think that works really well, but this is the perfect look because he finally has bandana for when he's going three sword style. Yeah, Zoro, very good. Very good torso print. I really like how it looks. This is your most basic Zoro, but this is unfortunately the rarest of the Zoros because the most common one is the blue-shirted Zoro from this one, which is fair, but this is the Zoro that you think of when you think pre-time skip Zoro. Nami is the same as that Arlong Park set, or not the Arlong Park, as the Buggy the Clown set. That's fair. That's her Romance Dawn look. That's her iconic look for this early segment. Usopp is new, again, in his iconic kind of like brown leathers with the pinkish, reddish bandana. It's the same mold as the previous Usopp, just pink. Works fine. And he also has his wristband printed on again, which looks nice, but he also has bare sleeves rather than dual molded. But this time they went all out with him and gave him some printing on the legs. He's got a little bit of boot detailing, pockets, and this little scarf. It's not overdone, again, and the belt has a little bit of extra detail with like a belt and the continuation of like the jacket up here. It's not overdone, and it helps to keep the ones who have plain legs not to look too under detailed. But it does look nice. Once again, perfectly detailed, I think, from what I've seen, and it does capture the look expertly. And finally, for the first time, we have Sanji. The face print I'm a little bit mixed on. I kind of wish he had a little bit more facial hair. I get this is a younger Sanji, but he's got a little bit of facial hair down here that I probably wish that they gave him. Of course, when he gets post-time skip, he gets a much more full look. Obviously not like a full beard or anything, but like, a little bit more. But he's got like a little bit of facial hair usually, so I kind of wish they represented that. But the suit is perfectly printed. Yes, he's a fairly plain minifigure with black arms and just a plain black pair of legs, but he is black leg Sanji. He just wears like a pair of slacks, and then he wears like a jacket and like a dress shirt, like a tie. It's pretty perfect. And they gave him a new hairpiece, which swoops over the one side, which is very funny, a little awkward, but he does have his eye covered up basically at all times until post time skip, where it switches from here to here. Just very funny. Um, but yeah, he looks very nice. Overall, these basic looks for the Straw Hats, practically perfect. I've had little complaints here and there, but overall, they look just wonderful, and they will work as anime or live action Straw Hats because in the medium of Lego, there is a little bit of abstraction. So this is just Lego's takes on Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji. Plus, given it's a live action, we get the more interesting skin tones for Luffy and Usopp, especially, though obviously all of them have different skin tones. So I'm honestly happy that we got the live action versions. But yeah, wonderful. But finally, we have the biggest set, the 18 plus set. The thing that if this was any other Lego line would have probably been the only set. For $329, you get set number 75640 with 3,402 pieces. It's the Baradier, the restaurant on the sea. And again, they're making a bunch of interesting choices. If this was any other fucking generic Lego line, you would think, oh, they just would go with the Mary as the biggest set and call it a day. Make that the big $3,000 set. Or 3,000 piece set, sorry. But no, the Baradier is a much more interesting location because, for one, I have to imagine that this has to be compatible with the Mary in some way. At least, not like they play exactly with each other, but you can have the Mary rock up to the Baradier and it'll look about right. I think, at least. Yeah, disappointment out of the side. The biggest disappointment is that the front is a facade, and it looks a little thin. The fish head is at least complete, which I am happy about, but the main body of it is a facade, which is a little annoying, but it probably would have been like $400 if it had the full other side, I guess. And seeing the inside, it does look a lot nicer. This does capture the live action Baratier, which is a lot more brown with the red rather than the brighter colors. The brighter colors of the like it's like a tan and teal in like the anime, but this is still brighter and it looks so nice. It has such a warm, inviting atmosphere. And there's also a bunch of other details, such as right at the front, you have the iconic sword fight. Because of course you do. That's the Baratier event that a lot of people are going to note. And we'll get to why this excites me later, but we'll see. And you can see a bunch of the different minifigures. This also rounds out a lot of the important cast members for the live action. Uh, so if you're going for the full collection, this is necessary. Kind of, unfortunately. But, I mean, all the sets are kind of necessary. Every set has an exclusive minifigure, which kind of annoys me as a little freak. Also, I didn't mention it earlier, but unfortunately, there's no cheap way to get Sanji. I mean, I guess there's no cheap way to get Usopp. You have to pay $90 at least, but Sanji's only in the two most expensive sets, and Usopp's only in the top three. So it's a bit hard to get yourself a full crew, but at least you can just get the Mary. And Sanji's a bit more annoying because he's only included in sets that have the full cast. We'll get there in the minifigure loadout, but it could have been nice to have a Sanji in a lower set, but I don't know exactly how you would have done that without like getting rid of the Romance Dawn set, which I don't think they should have done. So I think this is the best that they could have done realistically, outside of maybe including a sixth minifigure in Arlong Park, which I'm not sure they had the budget for. So I think this is a fine compromise. But yeah, the fish head is sculpted perfectly. It's got these macaroni pieces that are used for limbs in like Lego Dreams and stuff, which is great for doing the lips of the fish head. And like it's got the door and like the front from the episode, and it just looks great as like a little display piece. I've been speaking out the box art a lot, which allows me to say I don't like black box Lego sets. I think the box art is ugly. I mean, I'm not someone who cares about packaging too much. I'm fine with throwing it out. But God, I wish this was as pretty as, like, these ones, because, like, they have such nice, warm tones. And they're so pretty, and this one's just clinical. This is for adults, so it needs to look clinical and adult. Anyways, it looks fine. And it has the Baratier logo, which is a nice little extra detail that I'm happy about. But yeah, this is for 18 plus builders, this is for adults. But it does look like a nice companion piece to the main sets. So here we go. We've seen the front, but this loop around will give us a good look at the back. So you can see it's a facade, but it has a fairly beefy interior. Thanks to its height and just it has a little bit of extra depth for the interior, which we can see here. We'll get to you later. But as you can see here, we get a nice full look at the interior of the Baratier. We have the captain's quarters, I guess this is, for Zeph, which is nice to see. There's a bunch of little eating areas. There's some nice deluxe areas up here. You have the main dining area down here. This is where the entrance is from the series, even though the door is down here. The entrance is here. It's fine. I'll live. It's a scaled-down Lego set. We have multiple places for minifigures to eat, including the two main booths, which will recreate the booths from the episode. We have up here in the fish head, there is the little bar, which is great to see. It looks like there's a bunch of nice little images that just look so cool. Like there's this Kraken here, and it just looks great. It fucking looks amazing. And it really captures the Baratier so well. And is this a new map? I think this might be a new map of like the East Blue. That looks great. Yeah, we'll get there later. But then the extra images just give you better looks at everything that there is to do it. This just looks like such a nice, impressive little like play area. And like it is big. Like goodness gracious. It has a lot, even though it is a facade, it has a lot of height and it honestly has an impressive amount of depth in order to get those booths. It required, especially here, to get a little bit of extra depth from what you'd expect from a facade style Lego set. And the fish head is full, so that's good. It is just surprisingly deep for a facade, and it does look nice. Um, yeah, here's some lifestyle images so you can get a good look of how it is with like a person. And you can see you can just place the minifigures wherever. And here's the back of the box, which shows you something that's very fun. The dock of the ship has a play feature. They put a play feature in adult set. Whoa! You can recreate the sword fight between Zoro and Mihawk, one of the most important elements of the East Blue Saga. And I'm so glad that they made it a play feature. I was envisioning this in my head when I heard them announce that they were making One Piece sets back way back when I was like, they should have a Baratier set that is the sword fight between Zoro and Sanji and has a play feature where they can fight with swords. And they did it, and it looks so fucking amazing. And it's so well hidden too. We already have these little bits of like blue popping out of like light blue popping out of the main dark blue water. So this just fits in with that, and it's so well hidden, and so well integrated, and it's simple enough, but it works so well, from what I can tell. And you have the dimensions. It is 35 centimeters by 27 centimeters. Goodness gracious. That is a big boat. And it comes with 5 wanted posters. But now to get on to the main event that a lot of people are going to be talking about with this set, the minifigure loadout. This set comes, I believe, with 10 minifigures, yes. So, first off, to go with the less interesting stuff. Luffy. It's the same Luffy from the Going Merry set. This is the common Romance Dawn Nami that we've seen before. Usopp's the same. I believe they just gave him a bag slung over his shoulder, which is nice. He does do that sometimes. Those guys are all the same. Zoro is a little different because while he now has the bandana, it is essentially the Zoro from the Buggy set. I believe it was specifically designed for this set so that you get an accurate Zoro v Mihawk, but we'll get there. But yeah, those 4 minifigures are ones we've seen before, but are nice to have. But as for minifigures that are new to this set and are exclusive, first off, this is how we get our Marines. I wish there was more Marine representation in the larger wave of the sets, but that would probably require the wave to just be bigger, which would be a whole different proposition. So we get our 2 cadets that are important to the season or to season 1, Helmeppo and Kobe. They look great. They basically have the same torsos, but that's fine. And their head prints are great. They represent Helmeppo and Kobe in the series great, and the hair pieces also look great, especially Kobe's. They are perfect minifigures. They look great. They're not the most exciting. And also for Marines, we get Luffy's grandfather, Monkey D. Garp. And yeah, he's a little bit more disappointing, I think. I think he does suffer a bit more from having plain white legs. But his jacket with these little pauldrons is done fucking amazingly. He looks like Garp. That is Garp. I'm seeing it in my brain. Garp. I see Garp. I see Garp. I see Garp. He has a little cup here, and it just looks great. It is Garp. I don't remember him ever going to the Baratier specifically, but you've got to get Garp somewhere. So making him one of the people who is eating at the Baratier works fine. It is weird getting Garp in a Romance Dawn set as a manga reader, since they don't really introduce Garp outside of the cover stories until like chapter 400. For context, East Blue goes up to around chapter 95 ish, 95 100 ish. Numbers are weird. But yeah, this is neat. As for cooks, we get 2. They could have included a few more. There's that pink-haired guy, who I forget the name of, or is it blue-haired? I don't remember. There's that one big chef, who becomes like the main chef after Sanji leaves. But you get the 2 most important ones, those being Zeph and Sanji. Sanji's in a new look to make him look more like a chef, which I guess is fitting for this scene. And it looks nice. It's a fairly decent chef's shirt that I'm sure you could reuse in a lot of other things. And blue pants, which are meant to be these, and he's also just kind of wearing blue pants, so yeah, that's fair. Ziff looks nice. I do like how they've given him a brand new mustache mold. That looks great. Lego mustaches always have a little bit of a thickness problem where you can't really see the lips. So that's a bit annoying. And this hairpiece does look nice, though. I wish they gave him his fucking chef's hat. Because like one of the fun, I don't really think of Zeph with hair. I think of Zeph with fucking the chef's hat that goes off the screen. So it's a little unfortunate that they didn't give him his super tall chef's hat. That's probably my biggest complaint with the minifigures. But it works fine. This is a nice recolor. But then finally, part of the reason I think they made this the big set was so that they could entice nerds to try to get themselves a Mihawk, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. And as you can see, he has a neck bracket so you can put the sword on his back, which is such a fun detail. Um, as far as it goes, he's really well printed on the torso and on the head too. I like the way they gave him his yellow eyes and his mustache and his beard. He does look very Mihawk esque, and the shirt does look nice. I kind of wish I know why the dagger is here. I kind of wish they gave him the cross dagger on the torso, but we'll live. I get it, so he can hold it in his hand. It's fine. My biggest complaint is that he should have a bit of hair printed on. I know they don't really print hair anymore, but I kind of wish they printed some hair. But it's fine, and the hat does work for Mihawk. I think it's just a generic hat piece, but it works fine. But they saved hat molding so they could give him his sword, his big black sword. Uh, yeah, they needed to do this. I think I'm willing to sacrifice the hairpiece for this. Yeah, I'm happy with this. It looks perfect. It looks like a nice, wonderful minifigure scale representation of Mihawk's sword that I forget the name of. I believe it has a name. I can probably just look that up. Name Yoru. Yes, it's Yoru. Uh, they did a wonderful job capturing Yoru. It's so big and so stupid. But Mihawk brings me to a big point that I want to make about this set. They gave him his dinghy, and I don't remember if it shows up in the live action, and if it does, it's a background detail. Enough so that I don't think they needed to include it, but they did because it is important to his appearance in the live action in the manga. In the manga, the Baradier arc works differently. They make it so that Don Krieg is the main villain, who's the guy who Mihawk kills in his introduction in the live action, and they have his big ship outside of the Baradier threatening it, when suddenly it gets cut in half, and coming through isn't some big armada, but Mihawk on his tiny coffin-shaped dinghy. And the fact that you can just have him rock up, laying down calmly in his little dinghy, is just one of those little details that all of these sets fucking have. This set has the tangerines and like this set has the tangerines. This set has Arlong Park breaking and Nami crying. This set has Tiny Buggy. This set has the fact that it exists at all. All of them have little details that show that they care about One Piece so fucking much, or at least whoever they got to design it. Or at least if they didn't care beforehand, they really did their research and checked to see what would work for a One Piece set. And for that, that makes this one of the coolest things LEGO I think has ever done with a licensed theme. So yeah, expect content on most, if not all, of these sets in the coming months when they come out. I'm really excited. I'm really happy with them. I just wanted to get my off-the-cuff reactions, which have lasted, how long is this? An hour? Yeah, so sorry for the yapping, and go check out the main channel. I've got content, I've got unboxings going on there, and that's where probably the rest of this content will show up. So, bye!